So tell me, what made you seek treatment? What were you seeing with Toyam way back when?
So it started back when he was 2. He was going to preschool twice a week, just a few hours in the morning, twice a week. The teacher had told me to get his hearing checked because she thought he spoke with marbles in his mouth. And so that's where it started. We went and got his hearing checked. His hearing was fine. They suggested doing speech therapy. Fast forward a year of speech therapy. The speech therapist, she mentioned to me that he had anxiety when she would walk him into the playroom when there was other children around. She said his palms were sweaty, and she was the one who mentioned selective mutism. She said, "Have you ever heard of selective mutism?" And we said, "No, I didn't, never even heard of it." And so from there, we started that journey of trying to find out someone who could help us because we knew something wasn't right. Another teacher told us he doesn't talk to children, and we went in the classroom to see him, and he was at home. He was always running around, excited, loud, singing, dancing. He loved to dance. He was the most outgoing child at home, still is. However, when we went in the classroom, they were doing some kind of presentation or lineup, and he was the kid who was trailing behind. And I thought, well, that's odd because I would have thought he would have been the leader. I think that was the point where I thought, we need to figure out what's wrong with him. Teacher said he's not speaking to any child. And she was trying to comfort me and saying, oh, it's normal. Kids go through this, or maybe he needs to go to school more because he was only going 3 days a week. And so from there, we tried to find several different doctors we took Toyam to. One said he's completely fine. He sits in, and this was a doctor that deals with kids with selective mutism. She said he sat in my office, he drank a cup of water, he's fine. So I thought, all right, well, we can't. She says that, so she's like, no, he's just like a normal kid. Fast forward, there was other centers that we were trying to reach out to. Pushkar was doing some research. He wanted more of a holistic way to try to help Toyam, and that's when he found you. And he's really the one that was doing the research.
Yeah, and also like when we went to a lot of places, what we found initially that because it's not like, I don't say mainstream, but something which is less known. Now we do know a lot about it through you because spending so much time at the community camp and visiting Smart Center. But before that, I think there is not enough information because even when I read people writing on these Facebook groups, initially when you find out, your world gets shaken up, and every third or fourth comment is, how do I get to community camp, or how do I get some help? Like, what are the ways to help my child? And all the moms and all the fathers, all the families are always so concerned because there is a lack of availability rather locally in different aspects, because everything is for ADHD or this or that, but when it comes to SM with all the other special requirements, there's not enough knowledge out there. And when someone finds their doctor E or you, it becomes so much easier, and you start unfolding a lot of different things about it.
Yeah, and I also think that there's a lot of misunderstanding on the diagnosis because it's called selective mutism. So many people focus so much on speaking, and you see this a lot on forums too. And for me, it can be really hard and frustrating because sometimes when I get on those forums, if a family says, oh, people are saying this or that, sometimes I'll take a look, and they're focusing so much on speaking without really understanding the child. And a lot of times they're reinforcing the mutism because they're pushing so much to speak when the child isn't ready to do that. They don't have the comfort. They don't have the engaging skills. The golden rules of comfort precedes communication and understanding why that child may be having difficulty communicating. I remember meeting Toyam, and he was very timid. So he had more of that timid presentation, but he also is a very highly sensitive guy. And so that sensitivity plays a really big role in how a lot of kids present in TOYAM. So how can we do strategies and interventions in settings that were overwhelming for him? We needed to really understand him, and we needed to understand his baseline comfort in settings. And once we started to understand him, then we were ready to develop a treatment plan. But I remember meeting you, and I remember, Dr. Jenna was there too, remember? That was
Yes.
back when she started grad school. So she was assisting me in that session as well. So we both met Toya.
Yeah, I mean, I remember meeting you, Dr. E, and within like 2 minutes, Toyin was speaking to you. You started playing this game with him, and I was like in shock. And then with Jenna, she was doing like hand over takeover with like a toy or something, and then there he was like out reaching, and it was just like a moment where I'm like, oh my god, like there is hope for Toyam, and that's where our journey started.
Yeah, it was about understanding him. So those beginning steps of really before we even started treatment, having those kind of questions and answers and really learning about him before he walked in the office. Because if we had just asked him questions or open ended, thought provoking questions, looking him straight in the eye in the beginning and so forth, and questions he wasn't as comfortable with, he would have just shut down. So we began with engaging activities, but I also remember he did really well with transitional strategy, shaping sounds into words in a really fun way where he was really interested in the topic and he loved the general competition as well. And, sometimes not very hard. And that's what I want to tell families. If you're kind of going through this month after month and your child is still not making that progress, at least with the clinician, and then making the progress on the outside by what the clinician trained you on, then that's a problem to me because from day one, you guys had goals to work on.